what was going on in this region, essentially, from understanding the footprint chart, was price was coming into this area before it sold off out of this area. And in this entire region over here, we had aggressive buy orders, right? So we had that positive delta. When we see a positive delta or a blue delta, what this indicates to us is that we see a lot of aggressive buyers that are not being rewarded. This is what we call absorption, right? So if we just read this one by one, if we understand the order flow and we read it coming in, again, our candle we started with, we see 0 for 120. So we see 120 market participants who are aggressively buying, and there's no aggressive sellers. So when there's no aggressive sellers and only aggressive buyers, and the market manages to have a huge sell off the way it did, what this shows us is that there are passive sellers sitting in this region. So when we see a positive delta, what we're essentially looking for, or what this tells us, is that when those aggressive buy orders are not being rewarded, that shows us that there's passive sellers sitting in this supply area, right? And this is what gives us a lot of confirmation to look for sells from. So once we've had that in place, right, we now come down to our demand zone, right? The same demand zone that I marked out earlier, right? The CPI demand zone, right? So if I bring that up again, we had our, sorry about this, we had a CPI demand zone down here, right? So if I were to mark this over here for people to understand, here's our fair value gap, right? So this is our inefficiency. And so this is where essentially the trade was taken from, right? So we understand that we have, what we're looking for here is a demand area and a fair value gap area, right? So this is an area that price has come into,